is Senior Pastor Jamaal Bernard from the Christian Culture Center, and I want to welcome you to today's message. Wherever you're listening from, at home, in the car, or on the move, I believe this message is going to challenge, inspire, and help you grow. Now let's get into today's message. How we doing, family? Oh, I love it. I love it. Let me set the tone. Welcome to Back to Church Sunday, and people are asking, yes. Some people ask, what's Back to Church Sunday? Back in 2009, a bunch of pastors started observing a decline. They said, well, let's pick a day that we're going to celebrate and bring individuals back to church, get the drive back going. And the reality is, you don't grow in isolation, you grow in community. And often, a lot of Christians are at this mindset, well, I don't have to go to church to experience God. No, you don't. But in order for you to experience true growth, proper growth, consistent, sustainable growth, you need to get into a community of believers that will help challenge you, right? And I think that's one of the biggest things is people don't want to be challenged on a belief that they arrived to, right? And it was funny, I was in the gym working out, and and once they hear that I'm a pastor, that's why I try not to tell people I'm a pastor. Everybody wants to talk to me about God, right? Between God and politics. No matter where I am, if I'm in my spot, I'm not going to tell you what my spot is because then y'all will show up. But when I'm in my spot, just chilling, right, in the cut, hey, Pastor Jamaal, I'm like, hey, grace and peace, right? Because I always see somebody from the church, right? I be trying to dodge you guys and ladies. And then one person, we were talking, they were bringing up, atheism and Islam, and I said, and they said they were trying to compare, and they said, well, Jamaal, how did you land at Christianity? I said, well, my path is weird. It's not the normal path. I said, because when I was birthed into it, my father was a pastor, but I had to go into my own journey. And he said, what is your problem with the other religions? I said, well, there's too many holes. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, let me put it this way. I say, even Christianity has its holes, right? Because we can never arrive to 100% surety without finite knowledge. I said, but what I have arrived to is even with the holes that have been punched into Christianity are so much smaller, where I believe that my faith makes up the difference. And once again, that's why I said, my faith is not irrational. My faith is not illogical. I have gone on this journey and arrived at a place, and I said, Lord, I know that you exist. Well, I know that you are real. And not only are you not, because the thing about it, that's why I argue with people when they say, well, send energy my way. No, don't send energy my way. Right? Energy is not personal. So just because you try to send it doesn't mean that it knows how to arrive at the proper place. See, personal beings can make a decision. So when we look at God as a personal being, he makes a decision to intentionally affect Jamaal Bernard. He intentionally to bless Jamaal Bernard. And I don't know what you've been going through, and I shared that to let you know that God is real. God does exist. And God does care. Change your framework on how you believe God should work, and I bet you'll come to a better understanding of the God we serve instead of the God you want to serve. See, we want to serve a convenient God, but there's nothing convenient about the God we serve because he puts a demand on our life. There's a statement, I don't know who says it, I take credit for it, and I say, what's the worth of Christianity if it doesn't change your character? But let me continue, because we're back to church Sunday. We got guests here that don't normally come to church. Godparents, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for supporting. And let me also say this. I'm sorry. I stand here representing the church, representing the pastors, and if you experience some church hurt, I want to apologize. I want to help move you from a place of hurt to let you know that the church is a God-ordained institution. But God uses man to work in it. And with man, there are terminal conditions that are built into it. And we make mistakes, intentionally and unintentionally. So if you're here saying, I'm going to do this another try, somebody invited me, if you're watching and you're saying, I'm going to try, I want to apologize. Let me start by that, set the tone. We're a work in progress. We're a work in progress. Now let's get into it. I'm excited about today's service and message. Our theme for the year has been renewal. Somebody say renewal. Renewal. And renewal is the repair and a replacement of something, right? Or, and I'm adding this, someone. But we're going to behave today because we got guests. You know you got to replace some people in your life, amen? Don't look at the person yet. So renewal is the repair and or replacement of something or someone that has been worn out, run down, broken, or wearied. And it's just a recap. You know, we did this past year. I'm going to land somewhere, but I want to recap. And all God-inspired renewal has 5 elements. Number 1, personal renewal. You heard us talk about this. And personal renewal is really talking about addressing the things that hold us back, because renewal is about growth. Say to your neighbor, say neighbor. All God-inspired renewal is about growth. And that's why I think people have tension with God also, because some people just don't want to grow. We're going to try to behave today. Okay. So, number 1, personal renewal. And personal renewal is about dealing with some of the deep issues in your life. Some of the deep issues. That's why I love when God came to Adam and said, Adam, who told you you were naked? See, renewal is about dealing with the deep issues, like the issues of guilt. They said the average person throughout the day deals with some sense of guilt. Guilt is one of the things that can hold you back from moving forward. Another thing that personal renewal has you address is the self-esteem. That's why I love that song. He thought I was worth saving. Come on now. If you believe that you are the imago Dei, the image of God, you should walk in a place where you demand respect. Because if God says you're worthy of respect. So personal renewal is about dealing with the guilt, self-esteem, some other stuff like self-worth, things like your reputation. And too often we allow our reputation to control our future. And the only reason why a person continues to live in the past is because they have no vision for their future. So they use their reputation to dictate who they were. But the question is, who are you? Right? Yeah, I think a resume is good. Let us know where you come from. But the resume doesn't always explain where you're going. And too often we allow ourselves to be held captive of the past. Stuff like, addressing a negative past, your reputation. And personal renewal is about understanding that God is committed to the real you, not the person you're pretending to be. I'll say it again. God is committed to the real you, not the person you're pretending to be. See, renewal is about looking in the mirror and really looking at the stuff that you don't see. Often we glance at the mirror, but I got to keep going. I got an hour left. No, I'm just joking for all those visitors. I said, I knew this was a typical black church. Don't worry, I got you. Number 2. So it's about personal renewal. God-inspired renewal element is number 1, personal. Number 2, relational renewal. Here's the principle. Not everybody can handle your success. That's the principle. Not everybody can handle your success. As you grow, there has to be a replacing of the individuals you used to hang out with. You got like a lot of haters will start. Oh, you think you good, too good for us? You've changed. A real friend will not get mad at your change. A real friend will celebrate your change. Very often in life, it is a person that's involved with your moving to the next level or staying at the same level that you're at. Remember, relationships are the network for life. Every answer God has for you comes by way of a person. So number 3, purpose renewal. Purpose renewal. You start asking the questions like, who am I? What are my gifts, my talents, my abilities? Where am I? Why am I where I am? Number 4, structural renewal. So I'm just trying to get through this. In the recap, but I see people writing down, so I said maybe I need to slow down. Slow down? But I got a message. This is my introduction. It's the recap for what we've been talking about this year. All right, we're good? All right. Okay, so purpose renewal is about asking you why. Why am I here? Why do I exist? That's what I love. I tell people, I said Christianity answers all 5 questions that every human being will go through in their lifespan. Number 1, origin. Where does this all come from? Some people want to say the Big Bang. Some people want to say this. Some people want to say that. But I'm telling you, you're going to ask the question, where does this all come from? Origin. Did we always exist? You know, some people say, well, no, we always exist. I said, well, then why are we running out of energy? There's this whole, no, I got to behave. Let me stay focused. So origin, meaning. What's the meaning of life? What's the meaning? Okay. Origin, meaning, morality. What is the moral standard that we should live by? Identity. Who am I? And in destiny. Christianity answers all 5 of those holistically. So when you're looking at purpose renewal, your question is like, hey, why do I exist? Who am I? What are my skills, talents, and abilities that I can lend to the world? Number 4, structural renewal. So you got personal, relational, purpose, structural, and number 5, cultural. And culture is where I want to sit for a little while, being that this is Back to Church Sunday. Cultural. And a part of cultural renewal is culture, looking at the traditions of the church, looking at the attitudes of the church, the customs of the church, the institutions of the church, the language of the church. As we as Christians, we say God is good and all the time. But let's land somewhere today. Because I want to give you a challenge. I believe that God is saying something to the church. I believe that we are at a place where this is necessary for the church and the next stage and next season that we're going to be in. So today I want to talk to you about something that's burning on my heart. And so today's title is Embracing Church Renewal. Say to your neighbor, say neighbor. Church renewal. We must embrace it. See, because as a community of believers, we are called to be salt and light of this world. But sometimes we find ourselves growing stagnant and losing our impact. However, it is never too late for renewal. Isaiah chapter 43, verse 19, and I want to read this text because that's the text you'll start seeing on all the shirts and everything you see out there for our Back to Church Sunday, and really talk about it, because what's true corporately is true individually. So I'm talking from a corporate perspective, but there are individual principles that you can learn today. But I want to dream. I want you to dream with me. I want you to imagine with me what can happen if the church steps into revival. So Isaiah chapter 43, verse 19, I'm reading it in the Message Bible, and he says like this. He said, be alert. Somebody say, be alert. Be alert. It says, be present. Somebody say, be present. So what he's telling them is like, look, be alert and be present. It's two different things. When you're alert, you're observing everything that's going on. But when you're present, you're in the moment. So he wants you to be in the moment and observing what is going on. You're in the moment, because sometimes if you're not in the moment, you can miss what's going on. But if you're not alert, you can miss what's going on. So he's saying be both in the moment and be alert. He said, because I'm about to do something brand new. He says, bursting out. Don't you see it? There it is. He said, I'm making a road through the desert, rivers in the Badlands. And what he is saying here, and this was a conversation that Isaiah was having, being a messenger with Israel, telling Israel, look, be alert. Be present. Something's about to happen. Something new is about to happen. And he says, where there is no clear path forward, God creates one. That's what he's saying here. He said, where there's no clear path forward, God creates one. Where there is no natural relief of refreshment, God provides one. So as we are moving to this next level, as we're entering into this thing called revival, renewal, some of us are going to be in places that are filled like a desert. You're going to feel like, God, why did you place me here? Why am I where I am, Lord? And he's going to tell you, be present. Be alert. He said, I'll make the path. I will provide refreshment for you. I will refresh your soul. Just be alert. Be present. So, can I share a process that I've been sharing with some ministers about church renewal? And I shared a little bit about this with the staff. First, we have to understand what church renewal is. We have to understand what church renewal is. So I end up defining church renewal. Church renewal is not only about cosmetic changes or superficial alterations to the building. It involves a transformation at the very core of our community. It involves a transformation at the very core of this community called CCC. It is a spiritual awakening, an intentional process of revitalization that leads us back to our original calling. As one, authentic followers of Christ, and two, social engagement to impact and bring change. He says, become followers, preach the gospel to the world. And we have to understand there's an urgency to church renewal. Somebody say to their neighbor, say, neighbor. There's an urgency to church renewal. See, in this fast-paced and ever-changing world, we cannot afford to be complacent. I'll say it again. In a fast-paced and ever-changing world, we can't afford to be complacent. Look at your neighbor. Say, neighbor, I'm going to be talking to you a lot today. And if you don't know your neighbor, tell your neighbor your name. Let's make it feel like we're in church renewal. I'm going to know you. Say to your neighbor, say, neighbor. The church cannot afford to be complacent. So, neighbor, that means you and I must step up our game. See, because the church must remain relevant, addressing the needs of our times without compromising the timeless truths of the gospel. And then I also say that there's a biblical mandate for church renewal. You see it through the scriptures. We see God's heart of renewal from the Israelites' restoration in the Old Testament to Jesus' teaching of the wine and the new wineskins. Renewal is embedded in the very fabric of our faith. In Luke chapter 5, verse 36 to 39, talks about the old wineskins and the new wine. And basically it was a slap in the face to the Pharisees who could not embrace change. And we all know that when change is necessary, not to change becomes destructive. And if the church doesn't look to change some of the things that they're doing, they're going to find themselves irrelevant. You can see a sense of it now. Back in the days, they wanted to know, okay, what did the church feel about this? Back in the days, they wanted to hear from the pastors. Now you got people who act like they're gurus. You got Jay-Z doing what he's doing with creating his own little movie about his version of Christ. You got individuals going online becoming, you got Cardi B out there giving love advice. This is what we allowed to take up the void because the church is not doing what is needed to be doing. So remember, whenever there's a void, something's going to fill it. I'm going to behave, though, because we got guests. And how do we know when we need renewal? And this goes, remember, corporately and personally. How do we know? Number one, recognizing signs of stagnation. One, loss of focus. And one thing I noticed is that COVID caused people to lose focus. You look at all of the corporate America talking about how individuals work and how things are going, and one of the biggest things they say is they have lost focus. You ask about kids who are in school who got caught up, like my daughter, she was a part of that generation that, her junior year of high school into her senior year of high school was taken out of school, and she's like, how do I stay focused? See, when you lose sight of your mission to love God, love others, and make disciples, we become ineffective and irrelevant to the world around us. When we lose sight of our mission to love God, love people, and make disciples, we become ineffective and irrelevant to the world around us. When we lose sight of our mission to love God, love others, and make disciples, we become ineffective and irrelevant to the world around us. And that's what happened. The church wasn't making disciples. Come on, think about this. If the church was making disciples, do you think the shutdown for church would have happened the way it happened? Oh. See, because another part of being stagnant as church believers is apathy and complacency. When the fire and passion of God dwindles, that's what was happening. We didn't have a passion, a fire for this God we serve.
Thank you for listening to Senior Pastor Jamaal Bernard of Christian Cultural Center. Download the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and visit cccinfo.church for more. We'd love to see you in person. Join us Sundays at 10 a.m. at our Brooklyn or Long Island campuses.